Volume Squad.
No, I got more.
10 grand.
I'm not gonna discuss numbers. You can name every number in between. I won't say yes or no.
Well, you won't even know what's 4 and what's 5. I mean, goodness gracious. Okay, I didn't think you were going to tell me, so I have a backup bad news question. There's a pretty famous story out there that Bad News has put out that maybe once upon a time, when the WWF was doing an overseas tour, all the guys are traveling on a
squad.
bus. We all know that. They're all on these big buses together. And on this bus, allegedly, according to the rumor and innuendo, Andre used some language that offended Bad News to the point that he felt like he needed to stand up to Andre and challenge him to a fight. Andre refuses to do that, and eventually they patch everything up, and this wasn't ever an issue again. Do you remember ever hearing a story like this, Bruce? What's the rumor or what's the innuendo about Bad News and Andre having some sort of spat about Andre's language on a bus?
Well, I remember the story. It apparently happened in Japan at some point when both of them were over there. I've heard the story. I believe it was with New Japan at the time. And that's pretty much what I heard. Same thing. But I wasn't on the bus. I have no idea, but I can see it happening.
Is it also true that Andre took a dump on Bad News' chest?
Andre, okay. Let's see how he was on Bad News' chest. He had diarrhea.
Yep.
And he wanted to fart. And when he farted...
Whoa. Who wants to fart when they have diarrhea?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. He wanted to fart while he was sitting on Bad News' chest.
To be funny.
To be funny, yes. And when he farted, he... Sharted, yes. And he had diarrhea running all over, and he was laughing so loud that he was laughing so hard that he, couldn't get up. And it was running all down his legs and all over Bad News.
All over Bad News' chest and face.
Yes, the more Bad News is trying to fight to get him off, the more Andre's trying to get off, the harder he's laughing. He can't. Yeah, that was diarrhea. Even.
When you're very, very heavy and you're wrestling Bad News Brown, diarrhea. Diarrhea. When you're in Mexico, when you really gotta go, diarrhea. Diarrhea. See, everybody thinks
to get into the singing thing.
Everybody thinks we planned this. This is all just freestyle. But I kind of expected you to say, no, that's just wrestling folklore. He didn't actually shit on Bad News Brown, but he did, and then later maybe called him the N-word too.
Andre Booted.
So let's run through all the Andre Dudu stories we've told on this podcast in case you're not familiar. We've got hashtag Andre Blumpkin, which was a famous Bobby Heenan story that you have not yet told.
Let's get it.
Then we've got Andre having to, when he's in Japan, he can't really fit where they have the toilet compartment, so he takes a tub flop, or he takes a dump on the bed and wraps it up with newspaper and sheets and throws it in the hall. Or, when he's in a pinch, he just shits on Bad News Brown. Hypothetically, if you could be Jake the Snake Roberts and have Andre stand under your hair, for Bad News Brown, and have Andre take a shit on your chest, what would you pick? Okay, I'm sure we're going to cover the first SummerSlam someday, as it's its very own show, and we're just going to hit the high points here, at least for Hogan's involvement. I do want to mention that it was a sellout inside of
No, shit, L2. My bad, dog. He was trying last time he played.
This would become the second biggest event for the company every year, even today. The main event, obviously, Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, with Miss Elizabeth. They're going to be taking on the Mega Bucks, Andre the Giant, and the $1 Million Man with Bobby Heenan and Virgil in their corner.
That's my dude.
Special guest referee is Jesse the Body Ventura. And Ventura is one of the bigger names in the business. Basically, but what was the thinking involving him in the main event? I'm sure it's now as to what they screw Hogan like they did before.
Should do.
Hogan and Ventura already started here. What was their relationship like at this point?
You know, I don't know that they were ever going to go out and be buds and hang out in the bar and have beer together. Everybody was professional and worked well together. But I don't know that they were best friends.
Briefly share with everyone what their beef was all about, because I'm sure a lot of people are hearing this for the first time and are like, what are you talking about?
Well, as a legend goes, I consider it a legend goes, Jesse was trying to rally the boys and create unions with wrestlers, and Hogan overheard it, Jesse trying to rile people up and started
Good shit.
which they didn't want in the wrestling business. They want to view everyone as an independent contractor. That's where the beef started.
Alright, so there you go. Lots of people have wanted to know, was that rumor and something that was interesting, to me at least, is the similarity between the first WrestleMania and the first SummerSlam. What do you got, Chris? Do you think of anything off the top of your head?
I don't think it was anything that was done intentionally. It was just simply another way to give an attraction without giving away what people were still paying for in the live house shows, live events.
Both were Madison Square Garden. Both had Hulk Hogan on top. And both feature main events with tag matches. And obviously, his second favorite has been Vince. Survivor Series is nothing but tag matches. For a guy who we have always said hates tag matches.
He hates tag team.
Okay, well, he started his two biggest pay-per-view franchises with tag matches, and I guess three of his biggest four. Why do you think Vince had a change of heart about tag matches?
Change of heart. It's simply, again, give a different attraction than what they're giving in the house shows. The house shows usually personal issues and one-on-one matches and main events to take those same issues and angles and melt them together for a national attraction. You didn't want to, for example, if the main event in your house show going across the country is DiBiase and Hulk Hogan, you don't want to put that on pay-per-view so that everybody can watch it at one time across the country. You want to change it up a bit so that they still want to go and see the live event, give them a separate, different attraction on pay-per-view.
I hear you in theory. We've just ran through over an hour of house shows where DiBiase's working a tag match with either Andre or Virgil, and he's working it against Hogan and a partner. Now that partner was never Macho Man, it was always somebody else. Just hang your hat on that. You said it was about singles matches, and now
it's about personal issues. Again, it's attraction driven. And if you gave them Duggan and Hulk here, they've seen it.
Well, what's the difference
You
between...
just want to give them a different attraction.
What's the difference between a match and an attraction? Because I feel like that's one of your buzzwords on our show. Explain to everybody what an attraction is, because I feel like it's just a word you fucking make up and hang your hat on.
No, an attraction is, especially at that time, you have to understand, it's different time. You're looking at it, what they present on their specials, which are no longer not relying on a pay-per-view revenue.
Alright, getting this right there.
All on the network now. They can do it. They're going for ratings. So the matches that you see on TV and the matches that you see on their specials are usually one and the same. You see a lot of it. At that time, the bread and butter was live events. So the issues and angles that you had in the live events, those matches were set to draw houses to make money in the live events. The pay-per-view event was something that was going national. That you wanted to create an attraction that was different than the attraction that you had in the live events. Simple. Using the same stars, using the same angles, but creating something that was different so that you don't give the same attraction that you're giving in the live events on pay-per-view. Just to be different. You didn't want to give that because then you're satisfying if I'm in Sheboygan and I have a live show coming.
Oh, Sean, you top dog, guys.
But if I can just sit at home and watch it on pay-per-view, I'm going to do that. If it's a different attraction, maybe on my boat.
Traction t-shirt. Okay, back to SummerSlam. The Mega Powers get the win about 14 minutes in after both guys hit their finishers on DiBiase. The high spot everyone remembers though is when Miss Liz used a distraction herself. Not an attraction. Get the board! To give her team a chance to take control of the match. She does this by getting on the apron, ripping off her skirt to reveal her panties. The heels are of course distracted by this. This allows Hogan and Savage to capitalize. Randy hits the elbow drop off the top. Hogan hits the leg drop and gets the pin. Hogan butts we talk about this on our Mega Powers episode, also available in the archives. But remind us again, who comes up with this finish and how were Randy and Liz with it? Because we've heard all the rumor and innuendo. Crazy protective of Miss Elizabeth, and here he's got her stripping down to her drawers on pay-per-view.
Now, first of all, it wasn't her drawer. She was wearing a red baby suit. This was the other funny thing. You remember the promo leading up? It was itsy bitsy teeny weeny,
Shit.
red.
I'm open right here.
That was the promo was all leading up. The secret weapon was itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow and red polka dot bikini. And then she takes off, and essentially she's wearing a red one-piece swimsuit. This was not revealing in any way, shape, or form. And
My bad, brother.
it was things like that, those kind of finishes sometimes that I just used to go, God damn, that's it.
What's interesting to me is here, her being in Granny
Good
is
shit,
like
baby.
this risque thing for WWE.
Right.
But a decade later, y'all are talking Jack and chocolates.
Come get it, come get it. Go, oh, Sam.
Coming on.
If only.
No.
There's a way.
No, calm down. Calm down. Coming off SummerSlam, Hogan Orton gets
I got your help side. One in three.
Beautiful. Ooh.
What are we? Somehow.
Hey, over here.
We'll live together.
Hey, bust that.
Chocolate kitty.
Ooh, got my toss.
People can hear us right now. You know that,
I didn't think you could pull it on me.
coming off SummerSlam, Hogan works with DiBiase in September through Florida and Massachusetts. Their September 10th match in Boston was actually televised on the NSN network. That's where we see the Hulk Hogan war bonnet involved. Bruce, remind everyone what you nicknamed the helmet again.
Fistfucker.
The next day in East New Jersey, Hogan was working with Bad News Brown. The match there. Match a lot of our listeners have seen. This one, again, this one with the war bonnet involved. If Vince McMahon were trying to sell Hogan on his helmet, what would that sound like?
Yikes.
Did not even realize that Hogan was doing helmet and the
Motherfucker, cooking me.
motorcycle gas tank and all that shit for a while. And when he saw it, God damn. And that Hulk had been doing. It was amazing some of the shit he could get by Vince. He kind of kept it going.
Good block and shit.
Hogan is back with DiBiase in September for Michigan, Chicago, and Landover. He worked with Haku on the 18th at Toronto, and the next day he beat Big Boss Man by countout in New Haven. Finished that match very creative, and they still do the rest of the year. Handcuffs to cut Hogan to the countout. Instead, Boss Man to the top rope
Good
and
hit.
clotheslines him over the top. This prevents Boss Man from being able to climb back in the ring, and therefore he's counted out. They used this finish a lot in the last quarter of the year.
Too sure.
Coming up with a pretty creative finish like this.
give that one to Pat Patterson.
I love that. Now, Bossman gets to work with Hogan for the rest of the month and on into October. They're in Miami, Madison, Springfield, Rockford, and Fort Wayne. The Fort Wayne show was actually a TV taping where Brother Love had Hulk Hogan on his show. The Big Boss Man and Slick eventually come in, and Boss Man hits Hogan in the throat with his nightstick. Hogan goes down and starts grasping on the guardrail just for support. Boss Man cuts him on the guardrail, and eventually Hulk gets back to his feet and chases the heel ball while carrying the guardrail and the nightstick. Bruce, what are your memories of this Brother Love segment?
Okay, is that all you
Kick
got?
it out, man! Kick it out!
Yep.
Funny. Did anybody do research with your friend? What's that guy's name? Hey. Okay, here. Yeah. Dave Milligan? Dave Milligan.
Dave Milligan Belts.com.
Okay. This was this is Hulk's idea. And the idea behind it, Hulk had seen a kind of a riot scene where the cops had people handcuffed, in Paris or somewhere. They had people handcuffed, and the cops were just waylaying these people helplessly. Just mercilessly beating them with the billy clubs, beating the shit out the way they were flailing. So it was Hulk's idea to cuff him, and then Boss Man beat the shit out of him. They couldn't go anywhere. We had to do it twice. We did it 2 nights in a row. And the first night that we did it, Boss Man went out, we did the whole 9 yards, and when Boss Man whipped Hulk, Hulk basically died. And went down and sold like a son of a bitch. He laid there, and it just wasn't, I hate to use the word violent, but it wasn't violent enough. And when we watched it back, I looked at it, man, I just wasn't feeling that. I don't know, but because I think it needs to be more violent. We watched it, and this take was that he hated seeing Hulk just lay there dead.
Yeah.
He wanted Hulk to have some kind of life. So we shot it the next day, and we had a lot more camera movement and cuts to make it appear more violent. And the phrase that I coined many years later, if I don't have movement, at least give me the fucking illusion of movement. If they're not moving, then move the camera. We did it a second night, and we added the guardrail there.
Oh, you better shoot that!
It just made it a lot more vibrant and moving, and had Hulk up and down and up and down. Finally, at the very end, where Hulk kind of, at least, he sold for Boss Man. Boss Man did the damage, but Hulk got up and ran away. The barrier over his head, like ripped the barrier apart and gave chase to Boss Man. Which kept Hulk alive. He kept Hulk babyface. So I got it, you know, if he wasn't handcuffed to this barrier, he could have got it. He could have got it. So we had to do that, you know, twice, and that was the reason why it just wasn't violent enough. It wasn't what we were looking for. That was all Hogan's idea, and that was something that he felt very strongly about and liked the idea and pitched.
Hogan and Boss Man continue to headline. They're in Toledo, Houston, Portland, and Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I mention that one specifically because this is Hogan's debut in Edmonton, and they draw 15,000 fans. Hogan's been on Top Gear for like 4 years. Why does it take this long to get Hogan to market like it?
Probably because he was all around it. Never matched up.
Well, they saw a huge number there in Edmonton. And the next day, Hogan's working Haku in Oakland, and then back to Boss Man in Tacoma. Here's something new for a lot of listeners. The King of the Ring 1988 was won by Ted DiBiase on October 16th in Providence, Rhode Island. He gets the win over Randy Savage by countout in the finals. And this King of the Ring tends to fly under the radar, Bruce. What do you remember about it?
Well, it was something that we did a little bit when they called him race was
Come to me, come to me.
The longest time, it was something they just did properly.
Hogan's working back with Boss Man in Vancouver, and then bad news in St. Paul. But the show I want to talk about is Hogan Andre. It's on October 23rd, and it's at the Atlanta. The WWF has tried now a few times on our show here to run a historically Jim Crockett area, and they're probably intentionally picking the biggest Crockett towns, Greensboro, Atlanta. So they put this Andre on top. And nobody cares. It draws 5,000. Hogan Andre in Atlanta in a wrestling building. 5,200 folks. Was Vince just dead set on making this work? You saw the shit results in Greensboro. Why would he try this again in Atlanta?
He's dead set on making it work.
What's the reaction to the boys who have always been trained to believe, rightfully so, hey, we're number one, we're top banana, we've got the cartoons, we've got the action figures, we've got the paper, we've got the dolls, we've got all the merchandise, the ice cream bars, we've got the magazine, we've got all this other income revenue coming in, all these other revenue streams.
Switch.
Hogan Andre in Atlanta?
Let's go stay everywhere else. Better, and our paychecks are bigger.
So the boys probably are like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Anytime that something doesn't draw, the boys blame the office. You forgot something. The office blames the boys. So it's never-ending saga. At the end of the day, we have a damn new gas station down the road.
Let me ask you about this new gas station here. Did you, Bruce Pritchard, blame for 50? This isn't Hogan Andre's fault.
They didn't want to see it. They didn't want to see the problem.
But this people are looking at it in a building.
How are you going to know if you don't book it?
Well, you just did Greensboro. That worked.
Greensboro and Atlanta are two completely different markets.
Okay, let's talk about the next night in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This time they put Hulk Hogan on top. Only 2,100 folks show up to see the Ultimate Warrior, Mr. Perfect, Honky Tonk Man, Brutus the Fucking Barber, Beefcake, and the Red Rooster. 2,100.
Well, there you go, right there. You just said it, right there. They probably put him on the damn post.
Watch out!
2,100 folks in Pennsylvania. Hulk Hogan main event.
Flies there or anything. Couldn't rough lives get it.
Getting drawn 2,100 folks here. Pennsylvania. Hulk Hogan main event, 1988. This kind of kills the narrative of the old sold out every night hanging from the rafters, doesn't it, brother? Why does Hulk Hogan main event cost 2,100? It's so simplistic with this. October 25th.
But that's it. When it boils down to it, you can sit there and you can give every fucking excuse in the world. The bottom line is that those people in that town, and whether it was a promotion or whether it was the attraction, no matter what it was, those people don't want to leave their house to see it.
No shit.
See it.
The question I'm asking you, and the purpose of this podcast, is to figure out why. Was it because the office you haven't learned 30 years later? That's what we're discussing. 30 years later, with the benefit of hindsight, can you look back possibly and maybe consider the idea that once in his entire natural-born life, Vince McMahon did something poorly? Or was it just a lot of time? Well, how about this one? Running in Atlanta. And then the next day, drawing shit in Hershey. He took Hershey for granted, didn't draw shit. The night before that, ran a town he shouldn't have been in, booked a big building, put his best friend on top, couldn't draw flies with fucking shit. Why can't we just admit, hey man, this was a miss. We opened a new gas station.
No, it was a miss. But my point is you can make excuses all day long. The bottom line is people didn't want to see it.
No shit. Why did they want to say
Probably already seen it. They had seen it for the main event. They had seen it already with
Stay.
whoever fucked it up. Look at the attraction. It didn't work.
The attraction. There it is. I'm gonna fucking punch you if I see
Just some bitch.
October 25th is another Saturday night's
Just
main
show
event
you.
taping.
Good
Hogan
block.
beats Haku in about 6 minutes. I know you're not going to tell me specifics. I've already, grown to have that beaten into my head now. But we're Saturday night main event paydays bigger than normal for the boys. What I mean specifically is, how would they compare to a regular house show payoff or a pay-per-view payoff?
If you were on the show yet.
It was bigger. How would it be? A little bigger than a house show, a little smaller than a pay-per-view. Is a pay-per-view always number one? Saturday night's main event number two, sold out house show number three. It's worth mentioning, this Andre Hogan main event we covered from February did that 15 rating. Well, this one, just 8 months later, does an 8. It feels like business is falling here a little bit, Bruce. Do you blame this on the card, the time slot, because it's not a Friday, it's a Saturday, or is this the beginning of the downswing?
It's very apples to oranges because it's time slot of different shows. So you're going late night, prime time slot during the week.
I'm also saying because the day before they do 2100 but I'm sure I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, you're wrong. Yeah, nobody's coming to the shows or watching on TV, but it's definitely not down.
It was an 8 rating, which is great.
But it was half of what it was 8 months before, but it's fine.
You can't compare the number of people watching television on late night Saturday night to the number of people watching television in prime time.
Yeah, because the Lord knows if it's an Alabama game and it's on a Thursday night, I ain't fucking watching. It's got to be Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock for me.
If it was at 11:30 at night, there wouldn't be as many people watching.
So, okay, we'll come back.
But look at it. The number of people watching television on Saturday night, the number of people watching television on Friday. To a show that airs on Friday night at 8 o'clock.
Okay, I'll give you that. Let's just freestyle this for a minute. What we're talking about right here is October, where it gets an 8.7. They did one in March, it did a 10. The previous March...
The March one was a main event, was it not? No, it's February.
It does an 8.7 here. A year prior in October, it did a 9.7. The October prior to that, it did a 9.4. Still not a down point.
Way to hit it.
Down a point.
Well, that's not down.
Okay, oh my God, the bottom was falling out.
Thank you. Okay.
God, it was the worst thing ever.
It was.
It's 21.
Hulk Hogan in 1988 drew 2,100 people with Mr. Perfect and the Ultimate Warrior and Honky Tonk Man on the undercard. Oh, and Bruce the fucking Barber Beefcake in Pennsylvania, and you're like, business is fine. We were making money.
You're right, we should just shut the fucking doors.
On that same taping, Saturday Night's Main show, Hogan comes out and runs you off, and they do the mega power handshake. Man, that handshake was such a big part of wrestling. For those of us my age who grew up on this era,
JG's hit me by switching my person.
about this creation of this silly handshake we all love so much 30 years later.
Milk it. You go for the handshake, you put the hand up, but don't shake it right away. You gotta milk it. And just when you think...
Hey brother, my switch bills and playing Europe.
Wait a little longer.
Hogan is on top here, tagging Hercules against DiBiase and Virgil. Why does Vince keep doing this if it's not working?
Well, he put all your guys on there, RuNNiN, Tully, and Sam Houston, and Barbarian, and the Red Rooster. If they're such big stars in Greensboro, why the hell didn't they draw?
Because they didn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch my bills and go to Europe.
Coming to town.
You coming?
Well, no, you just said they put all these guys, loaded up the card with all these great guys from the Carolinas, Greensboro. People wanted to see so bad, that they shouldn't draw.
Would you like for me to
That's probably why.
So you're suggesting that the NWA in October of '88 was drawing less than 2,000 people in Greensboro?
Obviously, their stars did.
If you can't be right, put it on somebody else.